So I'm always on the hunt for trying to find which composition could really make this build shine in a small 4 to 5 man group. And while it definitely worked solo, the build, which was one of the most important things when I was making it, was to make sure that it worked or was viable when playing solo. I had small group PvP in mind when designing and making this build. Normally, whenever I switch to this build to run with the friends, I'm usually dropping Rapier to run this, which most of the time leaves us with only a single assassin, which is the thing I realized today. I've always been missing when I'm trying to set up little groups with this build. And today on stream, we finally put together the golden squad. We've been running a double bruiser, double assassin composition, and that is what I feel like is a much more rounded out setup for this build. On top of that, we are all solo players, so we don't necessarily have to be hugging each other the entire time. We can always kind of be taking our own fights, and then whenever we see an opportunity, we can go ahead and link up for combos as we see fit. As we kind of see here, as Miles goes for a dirty shield bash into one of the most cinematic kills I've seen in a while, as you see my reaction there. But yeah, I had a lot of fun today with this composition. As I mentioned, we had the homie Jeepo join us, and normally we already had Astro playing on Rapier, Jeepo today playing on Rapier, and then myself on the Paladin, and then Miles on the actual Bruiser in the Sword and Shield Great Axe build. And the reason why I think this comp works so well is because we are able to spread out and cover most of our bases really well. The double assassin mobility allows us to cover a lot more ground and pick off those pesky targets that we need to in fights, such as healers or ranged DPS. And then on top of the fact that we have that, because of the fact that I'm in light and I'm technically a tank, I'm able to pick up on the areas that Miles is not able to really get to because of the fact that he doesn't really have as much mobility as light armor. So I can overextend, put myself into situations rather quickly where we have priority targets to take out, such as healers. And then because of the fact that we have that double assassin to back us up and they have that rapier mobility, we can do a really good job of closing in on each other's combos and finding kills. But we got a really nice fight today on stream that I want to show you guys. And yeah, it is kind of already started. We're on the back point here, and we've kind of just been backcapping all day. But this fight put us in a situation which is the real test for any kind of small group or a duo kind of setup that you're running, which is, are you able to disengage and survive and get kills? And as you can kind of already tell, we've spotted a spawn wave, and instinctively all of us kind of disengage as a team. And once we see that one of the targets here is overextended, we kind of just switch our attention back over to the tank, and we're able to finish him off rather quickly. But you're going to see here that more and more people start to trickle in, and it's going to start to become quite a handful to deal with. I try to see if I can find an opening, and then I try to direct my my squad here to get inside of the base. But as you can see, there's already quite a few targets in there, so we are forced to disengage around the backside of the outpost, and the real heart of the fight is going to start now. So right away, one of the hammer players jumps onto us, gets a pretty nasty stun on all three, but with no melee here to really follow up, they aren't able to fully get all the value out of that. We are all pretty low. As you can see, we are forced to pretty much split up, and this is what I was mentioning. The fact that we are all solo players and instinctively know what to do and how to survive as solo makes this such a strong group to be able to play with. But we all kind of get our bearings back a little bit as we regenerate some of the damage that we've taken, and we start to take the fight here over to the brute. But I noticed that Asher was under a lot of pressure, so I tried to see what I can do to see if I can land either a skewer or a stagger on somebody. Mal's also notices as well, jumps in to provide a hand, but we do provide at least a little bit of pressure to allow Astro to make their way out of there. But the pressure does end up switching over to myself. I believe Jipo's in the back. They're also trying to, or fighting somebody or trying to survive. But we have a couple of targets and some NPCs on us right now, which is just making it a little bit annoying to try to lock down these targets. But we are going to do our jobs as bruisers and just stay alive as long as we can and find that opening. As soon as we find that opening, our assassins will end up being here. But you see, I try to look for a sweep there. I'm not able to find it because of all that grit, and I'm kind of forced to use these stones from there. But I do notice that we do have a straggler from Astro or Jipo, and we're able to pick up that kill there. I have a lot of pressure on us now, and I'm forced to disengage a little bit, but with those teammates on our back there, they're able to give me some space. Jump back into the fight, just a crazy little brawl after disengaging and separating the main bulk from the Zerg. But still not out of the woods yet, taking a lot of pressure. We're out of stam, so in a very, very, very bad situation here with the sword and shield on our back, but we managed to land the Volt Kick, just barely able to buy myself some time to get that potion and get our stamina back. And as the rest of our teammates kind of finish off those other targets, again, I just need to buy myself some time, find the opening with the sweep and the Volt Kick on one of those targets. I try to land the root on both, but it's more than enough pressure and CC as our team ends up collapsing on the remaining opponents. And just a beautiful, beautiful disengage into a victory, excuse me. These are the types of fights that really are the tests, as I mentioned earlier. It's these ones that we really try to see if we can pull through, whether it's a duo or a small group that you're running, but a very, very, very fun fight. And I hope that we are able to run some more of that composition coming up here in the near future. But the last little thing that I want to say, I know a couple of you have been asking me about the update to this build. I have been trying out Tether and Cyclone, but honestly, it's just not as good as the setup that I've been running. And what I mean by that is I'm not trying to say that Cyclone or Tether are bad, but when I make builds, I'm thinking about the entirety of the build, all aspects of it. And that comes down to the abilities as well. All of the abilities, where they are all serving a purpose. And very, very rarely, which is actually the case for the Rapier, but very rarely for my builds in games am I able to kind of just switch in and out an ability here or there, because I've kind of thought up the build with all those abilities in mind. So with that being said, dropping out either Sweep or Volt Kick for Cyclone, we lose way too much utility on the build, especially against strength opponents. We really, really need a hard stun, and running Cyclone and Sweep leaves us with no options to get a Sword and Shield or a Great Sword player off of us, excuse me. And then the same thing for when we're facing ranged opponents. We have no real way of locking down opponents with that Cyclone setup. So you can definitely make a build around both of those abilities, but yeah, I just have, after testing and feeling them out, I definitely feel like this build in particular just plays a lot better with the way that I've already had it set up. So the last Paladin video that I had, that Season 1 and 2 update video, is still what I am running and is the most up-to-date build for it. But yeah, if any questions, please let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and have a great day.